Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I had just come home from a long day at work, my mind full of spreadsheets, deadlines, and the usual office chaos. I wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary when I pushed open the door to our bedroom. But the moment I stepped inside, everything froze. My eyes landed on a tall, dark man, effortlessly pulling off his t-shirt as if he owned the place. For a brief second, I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. Then I heard her voice, smooth, unervingly calm, cutting through the silence like a knife. "Honey," Evelyn said, her lips curling into a smirk. "This is Jamer. Tonight, he'll be in my bed instead of you. My body, my choice. You can watch or you can leave." I froze, the weight of her words sinking into every fiber of my being. My brain was screaming, my heart pounding, but I couldn't move. The air felt thick, oppressive, almost as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. I wanted to speak, to ask her why, to demand answers, but my mouth felt glued shut. This wasn't the first time Evelyn had done something shocking, something that made me question the foundation of our marriage. But this crossed a line I didn't even know existed. I had always trusted her, loved her, and yet, standing there, I realized that the woman I thought I knew could be so utterly alien, so detached from everything we had built together. I backed out slowly, trying to regain control of my thoughts. Jamer, oblivious to the storm he had walked into, smiled faintly, leaning casually against the wardrobe. The confidence in his posture made my chest tighten. Evelyn's smirk only grew, as if she were savoring my reaction. I remembered the early days, the laughter, the whispers at night, the way we promised each other forever. How did it all lead to this? How did love turn into this cruel game? I swallowed hard, trying not to let the shaking in my hands show. I wanted to storm out, slam the door, make my anger known. But something inside me shifted. I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of seeing me crumble. My pride, battered though it was, forced me to stand my ground. "Honey," I said carefully, my voice low but steady. "You think this humiliates me, but it doesn't. I just need to know. Have you forgotten who we were? Or is this just who you are now?" Evelyn's smile didn't falter. "Marcus," she said, her tone soft but commanding, "this isn't about who we were. It's about who I am. And tonight I choose him. That's all there is to it." For a long moment, I just stared at her, searching for a trace of the woman I had loved. The warmth, the laughter, the intimacy we once shared. It felt like a dream from another lifetime. But she was gone, replaced by a cold, calculated version of herself I barely recognized. I could feel my throat tighten, the anger and humiliation swirling inside me. Every instinct told me to yell, to fight, to reclaim some shred of dignity. But a part of me realized something important. I didn't need her approval, her attention, or even her love to define myself. That revelation was like a spark in the dark, a tiny flare of control I hadn't felt in hours. I stepped closer, not to confront, but to stand tall. "You know," I said slowly, "I could stay and watch, or I could leave. But unlike you, I won't let this break me. I'm choosing to leave, Evelyn. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. Out of respect for myself." Her smirk faltered slightly, just for a second. That was all I needed to see. The power in the room, the illusion she tried to maintain, had shifted. And I realized something profound. Sometimes the person who walks away is stronger than the one who stays. I turned towards the door, my bag heavy in my hand, but my chest lighter than it had been in months. As I paused, I glanced back once, letting my gaze linger on Evelyn and Jamer. They were wrapped in their own world, oblivious to the storm they had caused, oblivious to the quiet strength I was carrying with me now. And then I made the decision. I opened the door, took a deep breath, and stepped into the corridor outside, leaving behind not just a room, but the suffocating weight of betrayal. If this story moved you, hit the like button and share it. Let others witness the power of standing up for yourself. Walking down the hall, I could hear Evelyn calling out, but I didn't turn back. For the first time in years, I felt a strange sense of freedom. A freedom that wasn't loud or violent. It was quiet, steady, unshakable. I knew the coming days wouldn't be easy. There would be questions, doubt, and the inevitable loneliness. But I also knew I had reclaimed something essential, my dignity. I found myself thinking about all the subtle signs I had ignored. The late-night messages, the sudden change in tone, the distant touches. I had been blind, consumed by the hope that love could be coaxed back into life. But love, I realized, isn't something you can force. And neither is respect. Every step I took away from that bedroom reinforced the truth I had been avoiding. You cannot mend what someone doesn't value. And tonight, Evelyn had chosen her own path. And I, Marcus, would choose mine. I spent the first few hours in the quiet of my car, parked a block away from home. The city lights blurred through the windshield, but my mind was clear, painfully clear. I replayed the scene over and over, not out of obsession, but out of understanding. I needed to process it. Every detail, every smirk, every casual movement of Jamer's hand on her shoulder. They were imprinted in my memory, but they no longer had the power to hurt me the way they once might have. I thought about our marriage, about the years I had given, the sacrifices I had made, and the late nights I had stayed up wondering if she truly appreciated me. And in that reflection, I realized something. Love without respect is a hollow thing. I had loved Evelyn with everything I had, but she had stripped the foundation from under us. There was no negotiation left, no pleading, no words that could bring back what had been lost. I finally got out of the car, walking aimlessly until I found myself at a small, quiet cafe that stayed open late. I ordered a coffee and sat by the window, watching the world pass by. Couples laughed, strangers walked with their dogs. Life continued as if nothing extraordinary had happened. And maybe that was the point. Life doesn't pause for heartbreak. It simply moves on, and we either move with it or get left behind. As I sipped the bitter drink, my phone buzzed with notifications. I ignored them at first, then noticed a message from a friend. Liam. He had been through something similar and knew I'd need perspective. I typed back slowly, explaining what happened, the scene, the words, the shock. Comment below and let me know, what would you have done if you walked into a moment like this? I'd love to read your perspective. Liam's reply came almost immediately. Marcus, you did exactly what you needed to do. Some battles aren't fought with anger. They're walked away from with dignity. His words resonated more than I could have anticipated. The more I thought about them, the more I realized that the strength to walk away quietly, without confrontation, was a victory of its own. By the time I returned to my apartment, night had fully settled in. The streets were nearly empty, and I could hear the occasional distant hum of traffic. I thought about Evelyn, about Jamer, about the smug satisfaction she must have felt in that moment. And yet, I felt nothing resembling jealousy or rage anymore. I felt peace. Not a loud, triumphant kind of peace, but a quiet, resolute calm. The following morning brought an unexpected sense of clarity. I began going through my routines with a new perspective. Cleaning the apartment, making breakfast, even organizing my finances. Everything felt different, as though each small act was a declaration of independence. I realized that for too long, I had allowed my identity to be tied to someone else's approval. No more. And then, as the day wore on, I started receiving messages from people I didn't even know. Friends of friends, acquaintances, some sympathizing, some sharing their own stories. Reading through them, I saw a pattern. Men and women alike had faced betrayal, humiliation, and heartbreak. But the common thread was this: those who survived didn't fight back with anger or despair. They rebuilt quietly and steadily. Share your thoughts in the comments. How would you rebuild your life if faced with such betrayal? Let's start a discussion and support each other through these experiences. By evening, I had made a decision. This chapter was over, and I wouldn't let it define me. I would focus on my goals, my passions, and on surrounding myself with people who valued honesty and respect. And though Evelyn remained a part of my past, she no longer had power over my emotions or my future. It wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about proving anything to her. It was about reclaiming my own life, my own energy, my own peace. I felt the weight of the betrayal, yes, but it no longer crushed me. Instead, it became fuel, a reminder that I deserved better and that my happiness would not be held hostage by someone else's choices. A few days later, I received a brief text from Evelyn, a simple, "Marcus, are you okay?" I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The act of walking away had already answered every question that needed answering. I had communicated through action what words could not convey. I was not broken. I was not defeated. I was free. If this story inspired you, hit like, comment your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe. Join this journey of resilience and self-respect. Let's grow stronger together. As I prepared for bed that night, I realized that true strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it's the quiet step forward, the calm refusal to engage with toxicity, the dignity to walk away without hatred. I felt a deep, rare calmness, a sense of self that had been buried under years of compromise and expectation. I had survived betrayal. I had reclaimed my life. And for the first time in a long while, I slept without the weight of anger, without the chains of humiliation, without the uncertainty of someone else's whims pressing down on me. I slept free.